done a couple of heavy videos lately, and admittedly I'm working on another heavy video. So in between, let's do something fun and light. Tier ranking ADHD life hacks. Analog edition, which I can only assume is another symptom. In this video, there's about 50 different ADHD life hacks, hopefully presented in an ADHD friendly way. The first hack is the source of the hacks, which I constrained to just one single Reddit thread. I did this to stop me cherry picking a sample of hacks that just applied to me. Some of these hacks will not apply to me, and I think that's a really important ADHD message, that not all ADHD works the same. If there's an idea that works really well for somebody but doesn't work for you, that's not because there is something wrong with you, or that all hacks won't work. It's just different strokes for different folks. Having a limit also meant that I didn't lose 9 days to internet research. I still lost a few days, but that was largely unrelated. Alright, let's begin. So our categories are S, couldn't live without it. A, love it and use it. B, love it and don't yet use it. Gonna try it. C, I really should, but I don't. D, not for me, dog. And E, this would make matters worse. This works for me if I am decluttering. If it had mouse pee and poop on it, would I care? I do know this hack. If it was covered in shit, would I throw it out, or would I clean it and keep it? If this got destroyed, how would I feel? This helps me get rid of decision fatigue while decluttering or keeping stuff for the projects I might someday finish. Don't know what you're talking about. I really should do this more. If it was covered in shit, would I keep it? That's an interesting one to start on, but I guess that's what we're doing. Just keep all of my ideas, to-dos, plans, reminders, etc. in one Notion sheet that I always keep up to date to avoid having too much information sitting rent-free in my brain. Yes and no. I even know people that I have to text back. Reminders for food that is going to spoil soon. Oh my gosh. Reminders for bills and appointments, etc. Yeah, I think the idea of having this all in one Notion sheet is probably the part where I diverge. Like, I would definitely do this in a physical notebook, maybe something digital, but like a continuous document. But I think that level of note-taking for food that is going to spoil soon, it's somewhere in these two. Too much information, Notion sheet. I reckon this would work really, really well for some people. And I think this is the kind of thing that I would get excited by for a day, set up, and then it would never get touched again. I would just lose a day. An obnoxious number of regular alarms. I set them to repeat every 10 minutes in the morning, every 20 minutes in the afternoon, every 30 minutes in the evening. It helps keep me on track. I still manage to lollygag. Great use of the verb lollygag. It's kind of like a Pomodoro, but modified. Nah, man, I think I'd startle. I think this would actually distract me. So what are we going to call this? Constant alarms. There we go. I pretend like I'm on a reality show and I'm being filmed at all times so I can't disappoint my fans or have anyone think I'm gross. I will say I am good at unpretending too. That's fun. I want to give this a try. Reality show. I like pretending. I like the role-playing aspect of it. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'm going to try this. Reality TV cosplay. That's fun. We're having fun. Alright, let's look at the next one. I used to keep all of the clocks at different times, which seems counterintuitive, but I loved waking up and then realizing you have longer to sleep/do anything. I will do this every 6 months, 6 months, with daylight savings with the clock in my car. But I don't think it helps. I actually think it makes... Nah. Mismatched clocks. More clock drawings. There's my 10 and 2, and here's my 4 and 7, and they do not agree. Speed. Yeah, man. Assuming you don't mean medication. This was a huge problem in my life for a while, so I know that it would actively make my life worse. I put travel to work in my Google Calendar with notifications before I need to go. 2 hours, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, and 15 minutes before I need to go. Eating, showering, and getting dressed each take half an hour individually, but those add up to 2 hours because of distractions. Each take half an hour individually, do they? They add up to 2 hours because of distractions. I've got 2 beautiful distractions and I love them very much. Maybe this is just another constant alarms. Times 2. I tell myself do it for future me, and then my life is made easier because I say, thanks past me. It's like I'm time traveling to help myself. Yes! Alright, we got a good one. Do it for future me. Yes, this is one of the most motivating things that I incorporate into, I don't know, what would you call it? Like, I don't want to say like mental toolkit because that feels a little bit sterile, but maybe the top 40 cognitive hits that I have on rotation. I call my executive dysfunction Greg, and I yell at it in my best Tom Wambugguns. Is that the dude? Tom Bombadil? I'm thinking of The Hobbit. Wambuggun's voice. Every time I don't know something, I just assume it's a video game because that entire genre of media just, I don't know, drove right past me. Executive dysfunction Greg. Yeah, I call mine a lot more things than Greg. This is essentially talking about internal family systems, which, damn dog, I kind of wrote a book that was a little bit about this. It was my first book, which is the idea that the various impulses and thoughts that we have in our head, not all of them help us, and if we can label them and give them names and even anthropomorphize them, as we are doing here with Greg, then yeah, you can get a little bit more done, because it doesn't seem like it's this all-encompassing will that's going to drag you down. Which is to say, I split mine, I think, into, come to think of it, about 13, 5 bosses and 8 grumpy sock puppets. So yeah, let's just put E.D. Greg right up here. I am often splitting up the various sounds in my head. If I am doom scrolling and I can't get myself to get up and be productive or take care of myself, eat, go to the bathroom, etc., I'll literally throw my phone across the room. This, I didn't know other people did this. Yeah, this is my #1 pattern interrupt for overuse. So yeah, throw phone. E.T. throw phone. I'm meant to be an illustrator, that's not a finger. That's how I feel when I throw my phone, Russell Crowe style. Don't put it down, put it away. I also tell myself, everything you do now, you won't have to do later. Sometimes it even works. I actually have a little song jingle of don't put it down, put it away. I sing out loud. Okay, I really should do this more often. But the other one, do now so you don't have to do later, that's, yeah, basically do it for future me. So that one's in there. A quick note from the sponsor of this video, who is, in many ways, an ADHD hack of their own, depending on how you are wired. It is Headspace. It is a tool for guided meditation, which again is something that I talked about in Your Head is a Houseboat, although I think I called it ripping the stereo cord out from the wall. But if you find that you respond well to guided meditation, or if you would like to give it a try, then you might be curious in this message. 3 days of Headspace is proven to increase focus, which is pretty much the opposite of 3 days of using your phone for brain rot. Obviously they're known for guided meditation, but they also have some guided CBT.
Afterward, I'll share a small action to focus on before the next session.
And even guided journaling.
What can be helpful and even anchoring is to see all these things that you have to do out on a piece of paper.
Of course, these days, when I look at an app like this, I am immediately drawn to self-compassion as a parent and the Sleepcast, Elmo to the Moon.
Good night, world!
I literally listened to this one before filming this. It was incredibly relevant, switching between work and family. It's hard, man.
As you transition between work and family, let's take a moment just for yourself.
They've got meditations of all lengths. This one, for example, is 2 minutes, which might feel short, but I am so impressed with what 2 minutes can do. I'm also amazed how much I just consistently underestimate how good meditation is going to be. And then immediately after, I open my eyes and I'm like, stillness. You can try Headspace for free for 60 days using the link in the description, or use the QR code. And that'll get you free Headspace for 60 days. See if you like it. And that is Headspace. Let's keep doing the hacks. Sticky notes. I constantly make notes on stickies at work so I can filter through my massive workload with my massive biceps, oh my god, which can be overwhelming to look at, into immediately important items. I do this very much. Could I live without it? No. This app called Finch. I take care of this bird and I can buy stuff for him, grow him, etc. by getting points and by doing tasks I've put in the app, lol. Yeah, this is a bit like, was it Hank Green who made that app with the bean? I think it was a bean. And the bean wanted you to stay off your phone, and if you did stay off your phone, the bean's life got better, and I'm guessing yours did as well. Or Habitica, or any of these. I think there's a forest one where trees grow or something. I have tried these. They have worked in the past, not knocking them, but yeah, they don't really work for me. Maybe I really should try this. No, because then I'm just opening my phone. Nah, Finch or equivalent. That's a no from me, dog. I pretend I'm an influencer on a cooking show and explain what I'm doing, in my head of course. I think those brackets don't require an of course. I would say it out loud, as if I am making content. For example, come with me while I clean my toilet. Okay, first off, I take my Lysol spray, ... That sounds pretty fun. I could do that. Hey guys, today we're going to be doing, what's something I don't like? My taxes. We're going to be writing back to emails. That actually sounds really fun. Okay, well it's kind of like this, isn't it? Influencer. Cosplay. Maybe it's like a ring light situation. I kept forgetting things as I left the house, so I started saying out loud all the things that I needed as I'm heading out the door. Keys, glasses, meds, lunch, phone, wallet. I heard it first through Austin Powers, but yeah, spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. I should do this more often. We'll call this keys mantra. I do it for other things. This is a failing of mine. Instead, what I do, I'll have like a massive bag and then just overpack it. Whoops. I put on headphones and use a voice recorder to journal while I'm doing chores. Basically, it's like body doubling without another person. Sometimes I won't even say anything while it's recording. I'll just do the dishes and hum to myself through steps. This is a complicated category for me because I do make a lot of voice notes, but I do them for ideas when I have them, and every time I do them, it's because the idea has struck me like lightning, man. And so I'm just like, oh, now I want to pursue it. Now I want to make it. And the idea is that I can put it somewhere so I can continue doing the task. So I actually get stuff done instead of just getting carried away all the time. All of that to say, it's like both of these categories at once. Couldn't live without the constant voice recorders because it's just such an easy way to make notes. But if I were to only do it, it would make matters worse. What's the exact mechanic? You're using it for body doubling. So the idea that if somebody else is there, you've got some sort of accountability for what it is that you're doing. And that is not the reason I'm doing it. So I'm going to say matters worse. Body doubling, voice record. Yeah, no, this is correct because I would start and then I would just follow that idea. That's what would happen. If I need to bring or remember something for the next day, I put it in one of my shoes. I should do this more often. I really should. Shoe reminder. I remember my mum used to do this when we were young. If she was bringing a dish somewhere, she'd put the keys on the dish in the fridge. I always liked that. I guess it's kind of the same. Realizing I didn't have to wash all the dishes at once was an absolute game changer. That's the sound of my game about to change. Yes, I have the hardest time starting something, dishes, laundry, etc. if I know I may not be able to finish. I've worked hard to give myself permission to not finish. That is a problem that I definitely have. I am really, really bad at stopping tasks once I've started them. I need to see them through to the end, which is like arguably a good thing, but there are so many contexts where that just backfires. I should try this. Some dishes. Well, I'm not fully convinced that browsing your phone for 4 to 10 hours does not help. Still testing, but the results are not doing great right now. That's funny. No matter what, I couldn't stop taking the decorative towels from the oven and using them and tossing them somewhere, which drove my wife crazy. I would do it completely unconsciously and couldn't figure out how to stop myself. So I put 2 pieces of ugly red electrical tape underneath them. When you can't see them, they make the kitchen look kind of shitty. Right, so the decorative towels covers the ugly tape. And so that's the reminder. And that stopped the problem immediately. Nah, man. Nah. I got a 3-year-old, nearly a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. The 1-year-old's a menace. And those towels would not stay on anything. So I'll just be staring at bright red, ugly electrical tape. Also, I don't understand this decorative towel problem. Am I not fancy enough? Or am I too fancy? Sound off in the comments. Red tape is kind of funny. I like the symbolism of it. You know, it also being a term for administrative stuff. Like, avoiding red tape is quite ADHD coded. Red tape dissonance. Because that's essentially what the hack is. It's using cognitive dissonance, but in a sort of visual field where you're like, all right, this isn't right and I need to make it right. Therefore, I put the decorative towel over it to cover it. The problem that I would have is, like I mentioned before, my 1-year-old would grab the towel, put it somewhere. It'd turn up 2 weeks later. It'd be wet. What with? Your guess. It'd be really sticky and with a whole bunch of dry things, and I wouldn't know why. It seems to be how toddlers work. And then meanwhile, the red tape that was meant to create dissonance, I would go housebblind to. I would just get used to it and be like, yeah, that's the red oven door. When my hyperactive emotions start spiraling downward about something, happens frequently. Yeah, you as well, my friend. I've learned to simply listen to what those thoughts are instead of trying to control them. I essentially perform CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, on myself to try and find the root cause of the emotional thoughts. If I'm able to pinpoint why my mind feels a certain way about something, it tends to significantly reduce the tension and the frequency said thought enters my mind. Me too. Yes. Again, I wrote a book about this. It feels like every unaddressed emotion turns into an extra background tab on your web browser. Assuming the web browser is your head. You can't close all the extra tabs until the matters are addressed or resolved. If the emotions' thoughts are not addressed, it goes into the background of your mind until it is. Juggling hundreds of these unresolved matters is extremely taxing on the mind and makes it nearly impossible to stay in the present. It's easier said than done identifying the source of your emotions, but the more we try to understand where they're coming from, the better off we'll feel. It's a big part of that self-love, self-acceptance thing. I agree with all of that. This was literally like the sort of MO for your head as a houseboat. That locating the source or locating amplifiers of negative thought patterns, or even just identifying them and giving them a name, or even giving them an analogy, all of that work does just untold good to you, to your head, and you will be living in your head forever. So, I don't know. It is work that pays dividends. It is work that compounds. It makes everything else easier. So yeah, I guess we will call this CBT, pretty much. One drawback, of course, is the not finishing things can become a curse there because, not every emotion has a source in a sort of tangible and definitive way. Sometimes you just feel anxious because you feel anxious and you look for a source, but it's like in Winnie the Pooh when they're trying to find a woozle, but they end up just walking around and following their own tracks. And so, yeah, the rumination is the looking. That is where it can be a drawback, but just knowing that as well is testament to both this and not this. A clock and a trash can in every room. Yes, even the bathroom. Edit, because it was late yesterday and I feel the need to elaborate a bit. Clock, not phone. This is for time management. Some places in a home are natural time sinks where it is easy to get lost, especially if a screen is in the vicinity. Kitchen, bathroom, sofa, bed, etc. You know you can't be trusted not to get distracted with your phone, so you need a visible, separate clock in those places to keep track of time without touching your phone. Trash can. This is to reduce the risk of distractions. Having to leave a room to get rid of trash usually results in two scenarios for me. Either I immediately leave the room to take care of the trash and get distracted, leaving my initial task unfinished, or I stash the trash while I finish my task and promptly forget about it, which leaves gross clutter about. Trash cans everywhere take care of those problems. Less mental load too. I should try both of these things. These both sound up my alley. It feels excessive, all those bins, but I won't knock it till I tried it. Clock and bin everywhere. Everywhere. Timers. I hate emptying and refilling the dishwasher, but I'm usually okay working on it for a short amount of time, such as 11 minutes. Yeah. I will ask my smart speaker to set a timer for 11 minutes. Sometimes I am done at that time and have moved on to something else. Sometimes I am working, but I'm close enough to done that I just finished the task. Sometimes I was distracted 2 times by my kids and have forgotten what the timer was about by the time it goes off, and I'll try again later. And there are days when I am not done, but I have permission to stop. All of these scenarios are better than letting the thing pile up, and I have given myself the grace to accept that it's okay just to try for a short amount of time. Yes. Okay, I love this. I'm going to say microwave go ding effect is what I call this in my head. A countdown timer where you have to finish something Indiana Jones style, just in the nick of time. By having the timer on, it creates that like deadline energy. It's real fun. I would say couldn't live without it, but I don't do it often enough. I always forget this one, so hopefully I can move it up a category. I know this is going to sound really patronizing to most of you. One of the things that, oh my god, that is so patronizing. One of the things that really helps me is just admitting that my perceptions are wrong. So whatever my brain first thinks, I know that I should do the opposite. Oh, yeah. I made a video about this once, and a lot of people commented that this is a Seinfeld episode, The Summer of George, where George realizes that all of his instincts are to do one thing, but if he does the opposite, then his life just gets better. There's a Malcolm in the Middle episode that's kind of a bit like this as well, if we're talking sitcom life lessons. So for example, if my brain tells me that I can put off doing something like an assignment, my brain says, we can do that tomorrow and work on the next assignment that we are going to do tomorrow. Then I know that I need to do the opposite. It means that I need to finish the assignment now. If my brain tells me that I can just watch one more YouTube video, I know in fact that I cannot watch another YouTube video. Just by admitting to myself that I'm not good with time management and questioning my own thoughts, it dramatically helps. I should really do that more often. I do a version of this when it comes to the concept of resistance, where I've got this mantra that the magic that you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. So whatever it is that I am putting off while I am at the same time trying to get some sort of, I don't know, emotional reward or like chase something that's a little bit vague and undefined, I have a moment just like this where I remind myself in an equally patronizing way. I don't think this is particularly patronizing, to be honest. That, yeah, the magic that I am looking for is in the work that I am avoiding. So I'm going to put this right here. It's like catching yourself mid-thought. I'm going to put it in language I understand. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Body doubling works really well for me, so I'll put on a clean with me video on YouTube on our TV when I need to clean. Likewise, when I'm cooking, I put cooking shows on the TV. That's cool. I've never really tried body doubling in like this sort of very active, deliberate sense. Only ever accidental. And every time I do, it doesn't really work. I don't know, is audiobook and clean body doubling? Probably not. That feels more like the concept of temptation bundling, like doing something that you want to do with something that you have to do. That also sounds like it'd be very distracting for me. Body doubling with YouTube. Maybe you're doing it right now, and you're like, no, that was S tier. I'm doing it right now. If you are, that's great. I'm genuinely happy for you. If you find things that work for you, that is. I mean, that's what it's all about. All right, let's have a look. I have one non-stick pan that I only use for eggs. Because if I'm spraying oil and wiping it off after use, I don't need to clean it daily. It stays on the stove. It's the egg pan. I'm not here to like criticize your lifestyle. But I don't know if I would have an egg pan. Wiping it off after use. So it's clean. But then you say I don't need to clean it daily. Is this unclean? That's a note from me, dog. Egg pan. I like the uniqueness. Not quite a planner or alarm, but when I have to clean the house, I make a list for each room, then tape that list to the doorway. It makes it way less overwhelming and I can do multiple tasks at once. I always think that this is going to help me, and then I just end up making a list and getting really into the list. Maybe I should do it better. Cleaning list. A lot of these are domestic. I am a squirrel. The shit I have to put away are all acorns. I must prepare for the winter and plant next year's trees. Playing pretend as an adult is highly underrated. Yeah. Squirrel. Squirrel it away. I'm gonna try this. Squirrel. And yes, pretend. Playing pretend as an adult is highly underrated. It's one of my favorite things about having kids. So many fun pretend scenarios. Just randomly inviting people round. Oh, this is clever. Hey, want to come round on a Tuesday for coffee? Tuesday morning I'll get more chores done than the rest of the week combined. Yeah, love it and use it. We'll call this invite deadline. Having multiples of everything wherever they'll be used. For example, each bathroom has a full cleaning kit. So does the kitchen. Every room has a bin and a laundry basket. This was, we did this one, this guy. If I have to go into another room to get tools to do a task, it's like 80% less likely to be done. So just keeping everything at grabbing distance really helps. I mean, it's basically this. Times 2. I put crucial things I need for the next day in the way of future me. So when I pick a thing like that up, I know I have to do X. And we'll do it right away. In practice, this means that my meds live on my coffee container, so if I want coffee, I have to pick it up and then take the meds, prep the coffee, and place the meds back on the container. Yes, this is the shoe reminder, and I really should do it more often. I do it with a bunch of stuff. Using a calendar for everything, writing tasks down on a whiteboard next to my desk, long press button on iPhone, remind me in 2 hours to do X. Oh, I wouldn't trust the reminder for some reason. I feel like I'd have to keep checking it just to make sure it was on. Writing tasks down on a whiteboard next to my desk. Yeah, I really should do it more. Constant calendar. Thinking of future me. Hey, we got this one as a different person from current me, and then motivating myself to do something I don't feel like because it would be kind to him. It would. I got you, bro. When I'm stuck, I ask myself if I only got one thing today, what would it be? And then I go and do that thing immediately. Then I repeat this as long as I have capacity. Oh, this is really good. I need to make this more habitual, but it is something that I do quite a bit. So if only one task. This is an idea that usually works for me. I employ it quite a bit in to-do lists. Like I'll have a to-do list that's truncated into killing it and bare minimum. So I know that as long as I've done the bare minimum, tomorrow won't be worse than today. And once I've done that, I can then move into the other stuff. I literally made a little sign for myself that said, if you're not using it right now, the sink should always be empty. Then I laminated it and put it inside the kitchen sink. That makes my house feel like a passive-aggressive office, which isn't to say I don't like it. I want to try it. Dish. Sign. I learned that I can't clean my desk without literally taking everything off it. When there's stuff on my desk, I can't tell the stuff that's supposed to be there unless I systematically go through every individual thing. I can't do it. So I decided to clear it and set it up the way that I want. Then I took a photo of it. There's the hack. And I printed a life-size photo of each item and stuck it to the desk. This way, everything has a very obvious spot. And if it's not sitting on a photo of itself, it needs to be put away at the end of the day. That is funny. That's funny. I've never heard of this. This is kind of like a pegboard for tools where people draw like the outline of the tool so you know exactly where it goes. But even more visually prescriptive, could I do this? Is the big question I have. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. Obviously, I could find a way to do it, but do I have the need? I really want to try it. I don't know where though. Okay, screw it. I'm going to try it. Photo, desk, thing. If I have to leave the room for more than one task, I hold my hand in the air while I complete the first task so I remember that I have to do something else. I look like a weirdo, but if it works, it works. I love that sentiment. I've never tried this, but I have tried things that are structurally similar to this, where I'll like be repeating something like da-da-da-da, 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 and I'll use the rhythm to stay in my head, you know, like wallet and keys, wallet and keys, wallet and keys, wallet and keys. And God help me if I get interrupted. One hand in the air. I don't think that specific mechanic would work for me. Again, children-wise, like if a child runs in and wants a cuddle, it's like, I'm gonna put down my hand, cuddle the kid, and then immediately I'm thinking of my kid, and my hand is just not up anymore. Nah. One hand reminder. I could see me making that not work. Wearing shoes in the house if I need to be productive. I read it somewhere and it somehow works for me. Oh, came here to say this one. I have a pair of indoor-only sneakers that I wear when I'm doing chores around the house. That and surgical-style gloves that so I don't feel what I touch. Game changers. Dress for the symptoms you want, not for the symptoms you have, is essentially how I read that. And I do love this one. I think it's great. I don't use it often enough, but nah, screw it. Let's put it here. I'll just say dress up. And I'll put a shoe there, but I feel like a shoe's more symbolic in this point. Although maybe it's not. Asking myself, if I were a sim, what would my moodlets be? Is that from the Sims game? My mindset has really aided me with acknowledging my emotions and needs, which I tend to ignore. When I'm feeling bad, I tell people my moodlets are down, and those I'm close to understand. Hey, I use the sim method as well. The moodlet tactic is great. I didn't think of that one. When I get stuck in the where the frig am I going freeze, my brain is bombarding me with things that I need/want to do, so I'm just standing up, sitting there or frozen. Oh, I do know this feeling. I imagine I'm the sim and some user clicks on some random action just to get me moving. So for whatever reason, it's helpful because of how I know how boring the game is if the sim is just standing there doing nothing. That's funny. It's similar to these ones where there's like an imagined audience or an imagined third person. There's some sort of accountability. This is super interesting. I'm going to try it. I assume it's this thing. Yeah. And it's green. I like to pretend I'm a YouTuber, me too, and film myself doing tasks in a time lapse. This makes it so I can't use my phone, and I also get to reward myself by watching the time lapse afterwards. And wanting the video to look good forces me to actually stay focused. Then I just delete the video after. Lol. Oh, you should upload them. Like, I reckon that'd motivate a lot of people. Somebody told me this. I had a time lapse in one of my videos where I was pretending to be a YouTuber. In it, I was cleaning my desk and there was a comment and I screenshotted it because I was like, far out, that's genius. The person was basically pointing out that the presence of a time lapse, that being filmed, being observed, could be used to have an effect on how motivated somebody is. And I remember reading this and being like, yes, that was my experience. I cleaned better because I knew that people would be watching, judging, and that actually helped. Did I continue to do it? Hell no, of course not. I'm an idiot. Alright, so love it, gonna try it. Time lapse. What up, YouTube? Anthropomorphizing things. I wouldn't want Salt Shaker to spend the night alone. It needs to be with Pepper Shaker in their little apartment area. The vacuum needs to fulfill its life purpose. This is very funny. This is funny. I naturally anthropomorphize everything. I haven't thought about this in the sort of domestic arena as a tool to get cleaner, but I'm going to. We'll call this Mrs. Salt. Listening to audiobooks and podcasts while doing chores and fooling myself that this is actually fun free time. Yeah, man, I could not live without this. Audio, book, and chore. I love it. I mean, like, at the end, you are one book more knowledgeable and your house is clean. It rules. It rules. This is, I don't know. I used to do drugs when I was a teenager. I used to freaking drive my car fast and be an idiot. And then now, in my 30s, my favorite solo activity, literally, is putting on an audiobook and cleaning my house. It's crazy what growing up does to you, man. It is actually bonkers, but it's beautiful. The only hack that I've ever seen work for me is to put perishable products in the door of the fridge, where it's always in sight, and put the condiments and such in the drawers. Side effect, solves the problem I have with produce in the back of the fridge freezing. Much less food spoilage because usually it's out of sight, out of mind. Huh, I've never tried this. I don't think I've got the drawer room for it. Nah, man. We'll call this fridge musical chairs. The other thing that I try to do is not walk anywhere in my house empty-handed. There's always something in one room that belongs in another, and this way it's not extra work. I should try that. I should. Always move one thing. Leaving the house every morning, I want to be productive as if I'm going to work. Get up normal workday time, shower, breakfast, get dressed in non-lazy clothes, everything with the same energy as can't be late for work, and get in my car, go get the mail, or just drive around for a little bit, then come home and tell myself, okay, it's time to work, and get right to work on chores or the project or whatever. About 60% of the time it works every time. I want to try that. I've never tried that. That sounds really fun. We'll call this work sim. Da-dun. Oh wait, I put this in the wrong one. These ones go here. Anything worth doing is worth doing half-assed. Obviously that doesn't apply to safety issues. It really helps with things like tidying up or studying though. I use the phrase do a shit job. I'm literally unable to do a shit job, but it helps me get started. I have so much resistance to this, and every time I do it, it works so well. Just get started. My mum used to call it the 5-minute rule. She's like, just do 5 minutes, Campbell, just do 5 minutes. And once you've started, you'll have the momentum to do more minutes. Which is to say, I love it and use it. Do a shit job. Everything starts somewhere. I try to accomplish tasks I dislike while waiting for something else. For example, it takes about 10 minutes for my bathtub to fill up. I use that time to do as many little household chores as possible. Tidy the kitchen, run a load of clothes through the wash, unload the dishwasher, etc. Because I have a time limit like the bath getting full, I move quickly and get things done that otherwise I might put off. Then I get to relax in the tub. I love this. If you don't have that last bit, this is basically an analogy for death. This is microwave go ding effect. We love this one. Alright, final one. Pretending my house belongs to a super nice old lady who invited me over for tea and a bit of help cleaning since she's just not got the pep she used to. I can 100% bust ass for other people, apparently, even if they're imaginary. I love this and I'm gonna try it. Old lady helper simulator. Did that fit on? Just. That is my light video. That was a spot of fun. I really enjoyed that, and now I've got all of these new hacks to try, so that was actually kind of useful. I think the theme here is that a lot of these are imaginative. The reality TV, influencer cosplay, the old lady simulator, pretending that I'm going to work, pretending that I'm a squirrel or a sim, or that the salt is real. A lot of these seem to really operate in the imaginary, which I love for so many reasons. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Maybe it was your body double. Huge thanks again to Headspace for sponsoring this video. If you are curious about those 60 free days, you can check out the link. And to reward your good attention span, I'm going to do what Benedict Townsend of Scroll Deep does and put in a bonus question. Alright, what is your niche ADHD hack? What's your weird hack? The niche one. Ideally something that never really makes the mainstream lists, but something that you swear by. That's it from me. Have a beautiful day. Catcha.
Until next time, whatever you do, remember, keep looking up.